Hi everyone. I just wanted to put up a video for you for government and the economy because I know it's super fun stuff and I'm sure you just miss being in class at this point. Before I talk about our first topic, I do want to let you know there is one question on the packet, or maybe two, that says something about going out to the community and reaching out to a local business. Don't do that. Just go ahead and skip that question and don't worry about it. Okay, so for this video, we are going to be talking about fiscal policy. Now, there are two policies for this unit that we really need to understand: fiscal policy and monetary policy. This video is going to cover fiscal policy, and then our next video will cover monetary policy. So the goal with fiscal policy, or what fiscal policy is it's using government spending and taxation to influence the economy. So the government has a role in the economy depending on, when you think about our political spectrum, if you fall on the left side, people who are left or liberal believe that the government should use their ability to influence the economy and help correct the economy when it starts to go bad. And then if you fall farther on the right side with the conservatives, they believe that the government should have as little involvement with the economy in general, especially during a time when the economy is not doing so well. So during the Great Depression, Franklin Roosevelt was more liberal, and he actually, in order to control government spending and to help people spend, the idea is that if people are paying less money in taxes, they have more money to spend at the grocery store, buying clothes, buying toys. And because they're spending money on food and toys, the companies then get that money. They can use the money to not only make their products, but to pay their employees so that they can spend money. So it's a big circle. This is what we're looking at. So when we look at fiscal policy, the federal budget, they decide each year how much money they are going to spend, and they control it through taxes and borrowing. So the United States spends a very large portion of their budget on defense. So to pay for that, they tax US citizens. Now, that comes in a couple of different forms. If you are working and you receive a paycheck from your business, you get an income tax, which is basically tax based off of your income, how much you're making. That is taken out automatically by your employer. You never have to worry about that. Other taxes you'll probably see are when you go to the store and you see that there's a shirt and it's $12.99. You're like, okay, great, I've got 15 bucks, it's going to be wonderful. You go to the checkout counter and they say the total is $21.47. And you're like, wait, the tag says $12.99. Well, that difference is the tax that you're going to pay on that item. So that money makes its way to the government, and then they use that money to pay for the things that we need. Now, when we come to stimulating the economy, so if the economy is not doing well, when we talk about stimulating, we mean growth here. So we want people to spend more money. That's the idea. We want people to be spending more money because, like I said, the more money people spend, the more money that the people who own companies get, and then they can use that money to pay people to work. So if the US government reduces taxes, meaning we spend less money on taxes, that increases our purchasing power. Purchasing power basically is just our ability to buy something. So if you think of it like this, your parents give you a, what's that word? Allowance of $20 a week. And out of that $20 a week, you always have to spend $10 on gas for your car, your friend's car, whose ever car. You always have to spend $10. Well, how much money does that leave for you to spend money on food or on your friends, or back when we could go to the movies, go to the movies? It's only $10. That's not a lot, especially if you're going to the one at Easton. Your ticket might be $9.75. You've got 75 cents left. I'm sorry. Whew, math is not my strong suit. You've got 25 cents left. So you don't have a lot of purchasing power. Now, let's say your parents still give you that $20 a week allowance, but gas prices go down. So instead of spending $10 each week on gas, you're only going to spend, let's say, $2 a week on gas. That leaves you $18 to spend. You have more purchasing power. Okay, so that's what the government does. If they want you to spend more money, they will lower taxes. If they want you to spend less money, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to charge you more in taxes. Now, sometimes that will happen when we're experiencing a surplus of money. We'll talk about that more with monetary policy, but the government does sometimes increase taxes when they want you to spend less money. It's the government's way of controlling you, okay? So if the government wants us to spend more money, they're going to reduce taxes. If the government wants us to spend less money, they are going to increase taxes. If you get that about fiscal policy, you will be set, okay? The government also does something called running on a deficit. A deficit means that you are spending more money than you're making. You're running a debt, basically. Since the 1930s, the US has been running on a deficit for the majority of the time since the 1930s. There is an economic policy that says, it's a theory that says if you have to spend money to make money. So some people think it's beneficial, other people think not so much. Politics come into play. So if we talked about unemployment, I know right now with the coronavirus, there are a lot of people who are filing for unemployment because they can't go to work because of the virus. So instead of their boss paying them money for the work that they're doing, the government pays them a portion of money for work that they're not doing. And there are some people who say that that's not fair. There are others who say that we really do need this. I believe the projection to kind of compare to 2020 is that by August, the United States will have more people on unemployment than during the Great Depression in the 1930s. That is a huge increase in 90 years. This will be the highest unemployment rate in 90 years. So the idea, if we have a lot of people on unemployment, that means that they don't have a lot of money, okay? Their purchasing power is very low. So if we want to increase purchasing power, we're going to reduce taxes, okay? That's the goal. Also, with fiscal policy, we're always looking at spending and taxes. It has nothing to do with supply of money, and we're going to talk about supply of money in the next video, but this is all about how you spend your money. Now, the Republican Party tends to side with the idea that we should not let the government get involved in managing the nation's economy, that that's not the role of the government. Whereas the Republican Party, they are going to lean more towards yes, government involvement. Is one of them right and one of them wrong? Well, it kind of depends on who you ask about that. If you look at the Great Depression, and a lot of people who look at finances will look at the Great Depression and kind of figure out what to do. Now, from a Democratic standpoint, President Roosevelt cut the budget by 40%, including a pay cut to himself and every single member of Congress. And he created government jobs. He spent more money than the government had. He put the United States into a deficit, but he turned around the economy by the time that 1942 happened and he took office in early 1930s. So about 10 years, he was able to fix the economy. Now, on the Republican flip side of that, there is an economic theory that believes that if FDR would have done absolutely nothing, the same plan that President Hoover before FDR said the government's not responsible for it, they actually theorized that the economy would have balanced out sooner than 10 years if FDR had done nothing. Can we really know that for sure? No, we can't go back in time and try and fix things or not fix things, but that's just a little bit of food for thought. So you have to think about, do you think the government should be involved in basically telling you when you should spend your money? Another way to think of it, if I want you to spend your money in certain areas, if I'm in the government, I will increase or decrease your taxes based off of that. A really great way to think about it is buying a house. So when you get ready to buy a house and you have to go to the bank, you'll probably get a notice from the bank that says, okay, you can afford a home that's this much money. Now, if the government wants you to buy a home, they will offer a homeowner's tax incentive, which means that they will actually charge you less money in taxes if you are owning a home or bought a new home this year. That means they want you to buy a home. Now, on the flip side, if they don't want you to buy a home for whatever reason, they could increase taxes on homeowners to kind of stop you from purchasing that home. All right. So fiscal policy is all about government spending and taxation to influence the economy. Okay. If the government doesn't want us buying, for example, right now during the coronavirus, there is a surplus of dairy products and farm products because people aren't buying as much. So the government is buying up those products. So they're using their spending to influence the economy. So those farmers and those dairy workers are still getting paid. Otherwise, what those farmers and dairy workers have to do is they have to destroy the food that they've created, and then they will not be working. So the government is going to step in and start buying those products, A, so that the food isn't being destroyed, and B, so that those workers can still work and get paid. All right, everyone, that is it for this video on fiscal policy. Reminders, if you have any questions over an assignment, over what you're supposed to be doing, over what fiscal policy is, please email or text me. I've had several students who just leave blank questions on their packets. If you don't understand it and you don't tell me, how am I supposed to explain it to you? I'm not a mind reader, okay? I am not going to give you credit for leaving it blank. So just make sure you are doing your work and getting credit for work that you need to do, and ask me for any questions, comments, concerns, or hysteria. All right, everybody, till next time.